Once upon a time, there was a girl named Snow White.
Or Katie.
Snow White had been working and working and thought it was time to go back to school, maybe take an online class. Here is her story. Hi there, this is my final paper or my final video for my English 101 class with Professor Stacy Taylor. And so I'm going to talk about what I have learned and reflect back on my time in your class. Um, I feel as though when it comes to my writing, I don't always organize my thoughts very clearly. After my first peer review for my first paper, The Cottonley Fairies, I could see that was something that I really needed to focus on. My papers tend to jump from one subject matter to the next without really any real transitions. With reflection on my first paper, I wanted to prove to myself in my second paper that I could organize. So I made an outline of points I wanted to make, which was um, my second paper was the Intelligent Life Forms paper. So some of the points I wanted to make was evolution, the technology, the Big Bang Theory. I tried to focus on each one and do my research accordingly. The research for both the first and second paper were both very difficult, and the things that I was having difficulty with was not only the research but the analysis and the critical thinking, which is something that I haven't done in a very long time, so it was a little hard for me. In my first paper, A Spiritual Fairy Tale, I wanted to just list off random facts, which you even said yourself that it was a little hard for us to not do that, to really focus on the critical thinking. It was interesting what I discovered when I actually sat down and analyzed the information that I had. Working on working on these papers and being in an online class has really taught me that I need to manage my time, that I need to set aside time to do research, to write and edit and to revise. I've never had an online class before, so this was very new to me when we had to do the discussion boards and the peer reviews. I've had peer reviews before in the past, but it's always been in class, one on one, so it was something new for me. Um, so when having to write the uh, critiques for other people, it was really easy for me, seeing as they're on the same field as me. They were taking an online class as well, so I felt like we had something in common. It was also easy for me because you had an outline of things you wanted us to say in the critique. One of them was the intro, if it was effective, the main point, the paragraphs, if they were fully developed. So that was really easy for me. It was also really difficult for me to read what other people had to say about my writing because I am a little stubborn. I want to think that my papers are really, really good, that they don't need any work, but it seemed as though after seeing the discussion boards and the peer reviews that I do need help. I really do need some critique. For my first paper, my thesis wasn't fully developed when I did the discussion board. It read, quote, when an event occurs that is out of this world and two girls are at the middle of it all, with proof, people would start to believe, end quote. This is my final thesis, which I think really was a lot better. Quote, the story of the Cottingley Fairies provoked a variety of explanations from the public. These responses included skepticism, belief due to spiritualism, and psychological explanations, end quote. Though my paper didn't exactly reflect all of those points to the T, I feel as though I did really, really well on the paper. I also really enjoyed writing on this subject matter. I've always really enjoyed the Cottingley Fairy stories. I really enjoyed the movie that they wrote about it, so it was nice to go back to that. My second paper, Watching from Above, about the intelligent life forms, it was a very interesting subject matter to write on. I found a lot of information about it on NASA, their website, as well as other people's opinions about intelligent life forms, religion, uh, evolution. So it was very interesting for me. It also made me really think analytically and critically about the information that I was given, that I saw online, and in the books that I found. I also feel that the Intelligent Life Forms paper is the best paper that I have written. I really do enjoy my third paper that I wrote, the essay three, which was my film analysis, and I'll get to that in a moment. Also, the one thing that stands out to me and that I did really well was the conclusion in my second paper, the Intelligent Life Form paper, which reads, quote, "In conclusion, technology and years of research has helped us find out a lot about what could be beyond our atmosphere here on Earth. We might not have a substantial amount of evidence, but we are only just beginning to start our research. We look and see how far we've come as a planet. Our future holds great promise to finding the truth to other life forms, though either way, we ourselves could be considered the aliens to a great and powerful space civilization," which again, when I go back to talking about my analytical thinking and my critical thinking on these papers, I think about that last part and I'm just completely mind blown because I've never really thought about this before. So it's really interesting for me to think, wow, there might be other life forms on other planets. In my third paper, which is my film analysis, is The Sixth Sense. And I really enjoyed writing this paper, mainly because I got to watch a movie. And it's one of my favorite movies. It has Bruce Willis, Toni Collette, and Haley Joel Osment. And as a kid, I had watched the movie and I was completely terrified of it. It was a scary, scary movie. And I've seen the movie a million times since then. And it wasn't until recently, when I've had to write this paper, that I actually critically thought, like really thought about the the symbolism and what the movie was really about. It's not just about this little boy who sees dead people. It's really about communication and relationships and trust. And I really, really enjoyed watching the movie as well as writing this paper. I feel like what I did really, really well on this paper was the conclusion, which is this. In conclusion, the relationships between Cole and his mother, Dr. Crow and his wife, as well as many levels of contact between the living and the dead, are reflections of how we communicate every day. The issues of daily human communication, trust, distance, fear, and longing are made into a tale, fantasy, and suspense. The scary movie element makes the experience of our protagonist much more compelling and insightful. With a deep layer of symbolic imagery and themes that play off our beliefs and the edge of our understanding, The Sixth Sense takes all of these things and brings them to life on the screen. And in conclusion, that is my final paper. And thank you for teaching me.